what do you think is the potential of venture capitalists investing in non-tech companies when it comes to food and beverage? He mentioned an example from India, Beer 91, which is a beer company, raised funding by Sequoia Capital and angels. I think the question is very relevant because he's right. Usually VCs do not invest in standard traditional food and beverage. What's your take here? Do you see a more increasing trend of investment, and why, in what sector, in what segments?
I see. So that's a very interesting question for several reasons. So first one is like how VC perceive value. So as we said before, right now there's food tech in agri-tech, alternative meats and delivery tech, but also there can be some value in the Italian product, which is the made in Italy. Made in Italy is not a tech, but it's something extremely important. So in Italy, we have like DOP, we have like pesto, pasta, we have like several made in Italy categories, which are not innovative, but they have a lot of power to unlock. So for example, if an Indian or Asian VC fund from Singapore want to take an Italian product and scale it abroad, maybe into the Asian market, it can find a lot of interesting companies, maybe small ones. So there's also independent company as well as some arms of large company. I have a couple of examples in Italy as well, that they may sell their businesses and maybe to a VC investor, which can help their international expansion. In that case, anyway, like you need to be pay attention regarding the made in Italy abroad, because like it's one myth, and this was asked by a lot of investors. So if I take an Italian product made in Italy, can I take it abroad? The answer is maybe not, because like you always need to understand how the product is perceived. For example, talking about pesto, in Italy is a category as is. If you go to the US, it's a niche of a niche. So you have like sauces as a niche, and you have like pesto as a niche. So it's not exactly perceived as it's perceived in Italy. So maybe pesto can be perceived as some plant-based, let's say, food, which follow another trend, the healthy trend, especially in the West Coast, in which we have a lot of people that pay attention to being healthy. So this category might be shifted to another whole dimension. So it's very important to understand where do you want to unlock value from innovation or from a made in Italy traditional product, and how a VC can give financial as well as industrial capability to scale abroad and have a successful investment. I hope it is enough or...
Good. I think there is time at the end of the event. Maybe you can join Valerie on Istanbul. Yeah. Another question from Sandro, which was the first one, asking why the disconnect between the food service sector, which you estimated minus 25%, and the retail at plus 5%. Okay. Because retail is impacted by COVID as well.
That's right. So, well, what's happening here is people don't go to the restaurants anymore because the restaurants were closed, and they shifted to mass retail. But less 20% in food service doesn't really apply to a plus 20% in mass retail, because let's say an average meal which may cost 20 euro in food service maybe cost 5 or 6 in retailer. So this is why less 20 is equal to plus 5. What's going to happen afterwards? Nobody knows, because like even Esselunga in the latest interview says like, we don't know what's the budget of 2020 is going to be, because like the customer might be a little bit poorer. Maybe they didn't buy premium product because they don't have money, or maybe because they don't have space in their bag, or maybe because like the gastronomy part of the retailer was closed. So there's some multiple elements into this maybe stockpiling effect of March, which I see like 20 plus 25 in current trading, and then like a stocking effect. And also regarding the category, so like the frozen food was like doing very well, and also this has been accelerated by the COVID into the retailer, which are seeing an increase, especially into the fish segment of the frozen food. This also leads to other problems such as like ethical fishing, for example, but this is another story. So anyway, I don't know if we're getting more poor, but clearly this shift of less 20 in food service actually translate to just a +5, +6 into the retailer. So that's the reason why.
Okay, good. We have time for the last question, which is from David, which is Senior Advisor to Deputy Vice Chancellor at Marduk University. He asks, is interested in the comment about frozen food acceptance. Yeah. Is this utilizing newer freezing technologies or traditional?
Well, there's also new technology, such as individually quick frozen technology, which is also, well, frozen is a huge word. So you have the general frozen, which is the one that goes to the supermarket, for example. So the one less 15, less 20 degrees. You also have the refrigerated, is the one, for example, some traditional private equity deals for Modasolo, in which you have a different cold chain, and then you have the fresh. So if you're talking about frozen, there's a whole world to understand. So yes, there are new technology in terms also of in both, let's say, what's their degrees of like temperature, as well as how you preserve the food, but also how you frozen the food, because like, for example, into the frozen food of Forno d'Asolo or in general of croissant, you can have several ways of frozen food. For example, Starbucks use the bake-off. So you take the frozen food over there, leave it overnight, and in the morning you can sell it. Another one, they do like pre-proofing or post-proofing technology. And this also changed the quality and organoleptic features. So the question is like, how do you want your pack to be big or small? How do you want the quality to be perceived by the customer? So you need to put a matrix and do the sweet spot, because like maybe a single companies can have 3 technology, because 3 different segments might be addressed by different temperature, different frozen techniques, but also different way of putting the cold chain in place, which can be cost a lot of money. So some people, rule of thumb is like €1 per kilometer per truck, which is huge if you take like the product abroad. So what's the, if I need to go abroad, what's the right freezing techniques can vary between Italy, France, UK, DACH region. So the answer is like vast, not easy, but you really need to understand who your customer is before understanding what's the right technique. But yes, there's a lot of innovating into this category as well.